Welcome to Katie's Classroom. Today's classroom is all about the Creative Leadership Lab that is launching Friday, the February 13th. That's right, we have a Friday the 13th coming up in 2026. We're going to kick it off real exciting. And today I'm talking about the leaders that are in the Leadership Lab. This video is really for them because they're going to learn about themselves when I send this video to them, as much as it is for anyone that might be interested in joining the Creative Leadership Lab. There are still seats available. And when we were looking at building a team, so I partner with people. And so my partner for this is BG5 Business Institute. She's a certified analyst, Wendy Tepley. She also brings 35 plus years of owning and working in marketing agencies. Specifically, she is in brand communications. Really excited to work with her from the analyst perspective. Her latest business she's launched is the Success Code Consulting, I believe. I might have gotten that right or wrong. And Wendy will be offering a 3-part series of workshops to help you find your voice through your BG5 analysis. And that is a birth chart. We're using your birth information to pull the chart. It is the most efficient and easiest way to help you build a business and to understand your energy and how it's designed. I'm going to be coming in and bringing heart math tools, which if you're familiar with HRV training, we're really looking at increasing coherence, increasing vagal tone. And I'll also be helping you work with emotions. Emotions are energy in motion. And when we're looking to exit corporate, as some people will, whether it's in 10 years, 2 years, or 20 years, or enter corporate, if you're on your way in, whatever experience you're getting, that's energy. And every year, energies change. Every year, you have your own personal energy that is shifting in numerology, and every collective, so the whole world, shifts in their energy as well. And so we're going to bring some of these understanding of physics and science and how does my energy work. Energy always moves in waves. And you'll be using that as your vision. You'll be making your own vision, and you'll be using that as your own oversight. This understanding will teach you how to be an observer. The mind is good for 2 things: research and observing. And that is it. It is not your decision maker, and emotions aren't logical. What a paradox we live in. And so we'll talk through, what does that mean? Like, well, waves always move. It's hope to despair. Hope to despair can be the emotional wave for some. But the wave is always going to come back, right? That is part of that like chaos theory, as it eventually self-organizes. And to help you really understand energy, particularly with heart math, there's heart math monitors that you will get to experience, being able to see in real time your coherent shift and change, is we'll be kicking off the event Friday the 13th in silence. If you've never experienced 2.5 hours with a group of people in silence, there will be parts of it that I will lead, so I will be the only one that speaks. We will also have a silent dinner. And you're really going to get to learn the energies of people and experience people without the name, without the label, the title, like any of that. And I'm going to guide you through, and you're going to be able to see on your monitor, like, where your energy is more coherent. Where does your energy come out of coherence? And we move in and out and in and out. We're looking at an average. And when we have high HRV, when we have high vagal tone, we don't see anxiety. We don't see ruminating. Our thoughts start to serve us. We also, if we can observe, can find where these emotions are stuck in the body, because that is what's happening. We have these homeostatic emotions that get stuck. And so creatives know about emotions. Creatives, if you're a storyteller, you really know what you're trying to pull on an emotion. So you're going to learn a ton about how to pull on emotional strings, but more importantly, you're going to learn how to observe your own. This is really about your own personal resilience and your own personal decision making. I always found it interesting when people would be like, oh, do you have a coach? Like, every coach should have a coach. And I'm like, well, if I was a nutritionist, I would write my own nutrition plan, and then I wouldn't need to hire a nutritionist. And I've kind of looked at, that's really what my job as a coach is for you. Like, Phil Jackson didn't teach Michael Jordan how to get better at free throw shooting or 3-pointers. They did that. There's just some guidance. There's some resources. And that's really what the Leadership Lab is, hey, we're going to have you experiment with some of these things. And then 6 sessions of coaching after the Leadership Lab allows you to fully integrate with a guide, which is me, 2,500 plus hours of executive coaching. And so we can help guide in career. And that's really where most of us even need our healing is from career anyways, and the bullies we've encountered there along the way. And we're going to implement this vision that you create in the lab. And of course, you're going to tweak it because visions are blurry. If otherwise they're not a vision, they're just a goal. And together we'll unpack your experiment. You'll get to self-reflect and have someone that's a professional listener and truth teller like myself that understands these energies to be able to help guide with you. That's the Creative Leadership Lab experience. So we kick off Friday. And we have the sips and solutions each evening. So different local parliament members are going to pop in. So you'll get to meet people like Janice, which if you know, you know. And if you don't know, you want to know who is Janice and what does that mean? She's fabulous. You're going to get to meet some very exciting, I call them exciting because they're wise owls that are entrepreneurs. Like they're just a hoot, if you will. She's the inventor of the Thaw Master, is that what it is? We put the meat on that's frozen at thaws. If you're old enough, you know what that is. She's the woman that invented it. Her hand was on the box. And it's just a really great group of creative women that have done some really cool things. I love partnering with wise owls that are much smarter than me and providing some of the tools and the things I've picked up along the way. And so together, Wendy and I will be hosting this retreat. And then on Monday, we will end with a brunch and you will get to go and share your voice. You'll have a very clear vision. It aligns perfectly with the Lunar New Year because Tuesday is the Lunar New Year. We kick off it's the right energies that you're going to want to ride that horse on. We are moving into a horse year in 2026. And it's interesting because in 2025, we're moving out of the year of the snake. This is a year of shedding. So we'll be moving from that to the horse. And horses traditionally are afraid of snakes. And as a wise woman reminded me, horses also buck people off. And the horse doesn't start until February 13th. And so what I encourage you, even if you don't sign up for the Creative Leadership Lab, nothing takes away from this podcast is to walk away knowing that January is for wintering still. The energies will have you wanting to do things, and that's important, but you're planting seeds, but you're also still shedding. And really focus on what you're shedding. I'm going to be writing about the things that I'm shedding, and I highly encourage you to allow things to continue to fall away, recognizing we step into that energy in February. It's almost like, getting to meet the horse a little early here in the US, maybe so that we don't get bucked off, or some of us are going to get on it. And I hope to grab those folks because then I can at least help them find their horse and get back on. I said I was going to talk about the leaders. So the leaders are a powerhouse of women, and of course, 90s Dan. He is our executive chef, and I call him our in-house go-to-market engineer. He's in-house because he lives with me as my husband, but he works in the corporate America space and gets just got hired on. He's had his own agency. He's gotten hired on to help scale a publicly traded company. So 90s Dan will be here. His energy, he brings one unique energy to the room that wouldn't be here in this group of leaders, and that is coordination. And he's already doing a great job of coordinating things around the food and the menu. And I will work with you when you book to make sure that you have the best meals you've ever had, because that's what 90s Dan exists to do. It is his favorite thing. We can get paid to do a lot of things. That's his favorite one to get paid for. We also, as I mentioned, Wendy Tepley of her. And so the two of them kind of bring this also entrepreneurship background because they both had their own like kind of an agency, I guess would be a way to describe it. He's had many identities of his business over the 14 plus years. And we also have a mystery guest because every single event we have at Owl's End will have a mystery guest. This one is a Google UX strategist. And she is our international guest as well, which is why we're going to keep her an international woman of mystery. And my favorite little hooter, I'm taller than she is by quite a bit. Her name is Ashley Peterson, and she is a go-to-market strategist. She is a program manager. And more importantly, she is a mom, as is our mystery guest. and a mompreneur, if you will, and also looking at like how do you have it all and balancing corporate. And she has done a phenomenal job of climbing the corporate ladder, getting what she wants by being herself, which is really what the Creative Leadership Lab is about. We're so afraid to experiment with being ourselves to get what we want that we'll experiment with being other people. We'll read other books. We'll try other tricks. This is about you specifically and how you are designed to build a business. And a business can be an entrepreneur. So you're climbing a corporate ladder. Like you have to look at yourself if you're exchanging time for money as a business and not the W-2 paperwork that you fill out. You are not paperwork. And you are energy, which is why we're going to spend some time forest bathing, which is, I will probably have finished all of the training on that to get the certification. Whew, that one was like one of the more intense ones. And looking forward to bringing some of the trauma and sensitive heart math practices to you as well. All of these tools will be things that you just continue to experiment with. My favorite part of the tools I bring you is everybody keeps their eyes open a big chunk of the day, and we are all addicted to breathing. And those are the two things that we're going to do. We're going to learn how to breathe with our eyes open and to shift our HRV in real time and to shift our inner attitude so that it serves us and doesn't beat us up or it doesn't feel frustrated and really starts to become rewrite your story is really about creating your own story and so recognizing that you've always had the pen. You may not have written it in this lifetime. You may have written it before you came down here, but you have had this pen. And so we're going to give you your agency back. And that's part of where the marketing, the marketing people just find me. And that's because I'm one of those natural marketers of the world, as they say. But part of this, agency, that's what a marketing agency does. It gives agency to someone, right? To your voice. And when you have that back, you then can navigate a career and you don't look at statistics and even think about them. The amount of times I have been a 1% or 3% statistic in a positive way has been pretty great. Not the rich way, but in the, my phone's on 1%, but hey, it lasted a really long time way. Or more importantly, when I went transferred as an athlete, so only 2% of transfer students that are athletes will graduate with a 4-year degree. That was never a thought in my mind that I wouldn't graduate with a 4-year degree, and most of my tennis team did. The people that didn't, that wasn't what they were going to school for in the first place. We went to community college because I didn't have any money. And when I transferred in as an athlete, my professor was like, I didn't think you'd be that smart, transfer student. It was wrong. And so I beat those odds. And then in coaching, when I launched my corporate business, only 3% of coaches really were making any more than $75,000. And if you're living in this economy, that's not really enough. And that was 3%. I think the 1%ers were in that 6-figure range. And so if there's another odd I've gotten to beat. And so whenever we look at these statistics about like how hard it is for women, how hard it is when add more nuance, add more hard, you are supposed to look at that statistic and then determine what is the probability of me being in that statistic. I know me in corporate, yeah, that's going to not be great for me. And I was confirmed when I got my birth chart where it says I do not have corporate energy. I can be on team. I can coach and consult with corporate, and that's where I serve best because I come in, I fix things, and then I leave. And I stir up the energy. And that is a theme that has showed up in every single of my jobs. That's why every 3 years my resume moves. That's my cycle clearly. And so knowing these things is really powerful. It also helps you understand like how to talk about yourself, but more importantly, like what you want to go for, what you don't want to go for, so that when you're looking at statistics, you don't look at that. Like I never looked at the coaching one. I was like, well, I've had, that statistic of the athlete thing wasn't really high. And I'm my high school tennis coach, because I picked up a racket freshman year of high school, was like, statistically, you're probably not going to get a scholarship to play tennis. It's pretty low. Also got one of those. And what is it, like 2 or 3% of people are athletes are in the NCAA. So it was Division II. Point being, we're here so you understand your energy, so that you're not being distracted by statistics. You're able to look at them and logically know, hey, does this match? Like, would I be one of those statistics, or is this like I'm a shoo-in for the 1%? Because I will tell you that I didn't work harder than, to play tennis in college. I dated a guy who played tennis, and we played a lot of tennis. And I got better. And then, and I had a great doubles partner, which was my best friend from high school at the time. And so when we look at being in our own nature, like, can I really have everything I want and just be myself? The answer is yes. But we have to know ourselves and we have to know what we're not. We have to know how to work with that energy. And that's what the Creative Leadership Lab experience is about. It is an experiment for you. I mentioned 90s Dan and bringing the gift of coordination. Wendy, our wise owl, that is also our analyst, brings the gift of planning. And that's really what an analyst does. They can plan for you because your life is a timeline that's unfolding. And so that's important. Timing is everything. You do not want to peak early. You don't want to be in the market too early. You want to time it perfectly. So that's important to know. And the gift that Ashley brings is implementation. And she is really why we implemented this, because we know that moms, if they really want to even think about like, what would that look like for me? And like, what can I do today in corporate so that by the time I finally want to exit, I can, and I'm set up. You need 4 days away. You just can't be a mom and have a job and make this happen. And so this really was like, she did bring the gift of implementation to the group, because without her, we wouldn't have had a reason to implement. And then I bring the gift of accounting. And accounting is the gift of people telling you their secrets and accounting for what needs to be and what doesn't need to be here. And we have 2 spots in our business chart. So this is what we're looking at from the BG5 analysis lens. Is like, how do we look as a business together? Like, what gifts and strengths do we bring? Because energy is contagious. And so we want you to be in the energy that you're going to need. You're going to get public relations. You're going to get the gift of administration. Funny enough, all 3 of our marketing women bring the gift of public relations. Sorry, not marketing women. Dan, our mystery guest, and Ashley. Wendy brings the planning. And so we have 2 places that are open that we don't bring. We bring reliability, which is you can count on me, and also who's the other person? Dan. You can count on the 2 of us that run the Owls in to bring a diverse group together and make it feel cohesive. Our wedding was a really good example of that. Everyone's like, I feel like we all should have met and we all know each other, and they were all so very different. So if you're wondering, will I fit in there? Like, how will it be for me? You will. That's the energy that we bring. We also, the gift of culture, which is patience, rhythms, rituals, routines are in this, as well as capacity. So we're going to look at how would you scale things, and commitment. This one's important. If you don't have this in your chart, you're going to be in the energy of that's designed to help you say yes to things. And we're going to teach you how do you be in that energy without taking on that energy and then feeling, regret later because you said something. So the 2 places that are open, this is a beautiful synchronicity from the universe. This is how I know this Creative Leadership Lab is just going to be super magical for the people it aligns for. The 2 areas that are open means that we don't bring that energy to the table. So you can either show up with it. Maybe somebody else will come and they'll also show up with it. But we're not designing consciously or unconsciously, energetically. We're not designing these 2 areas. And it's funny because I've tried to do things in the past and there have been too many gaps, and they've been in important places. Like, we were all committed. We didn't have the gift of commitment, but or coordination. And so we could want to do something, but then we couldn't get it off the ground, for example. And so these 2 areas, the first one is vision. We shouldn't be providing the vision. You should. This is your 4-day immersive. You can get a sense of like, okay, what will I be experimenting with? But you're going to set the vision for what that looks like. And I can help guide with the right questions, but that is a great place to not have energetic influence. And then the other one is oversight. And this one is interesting because it's about seeing the entire operation and making sure that it's running smooth and all of that. And it's not that we just don't have this consistently as a group. And I do think of you coming into an experience. Part of why I was so passionate about creating experiences is because I've always felt like they were disingenuine, and because they're created to get you to be in a certain place and to feel a certain thing and to connect to something. And we can use psychology and neuroscience to trick you into something, but that doesn't mean your energy actually wants to go there. So I really love that we don't bring this gift. So some of the gaps might be like, ooh, we need a contract, or ooh, we need, whatever this item is. But I look forward to either having people come to the retreat that bring this gift, or for you to be able to step into your own wisdom, because that's what it means when there's a gap. Corporate America might look and say, okay, we need to hire people to fill this. But the reality is, no, that's where cross-functional teamwork happens. Those teams that don't work really well cross-functionally, they may already be complete. And so they don't have any room to bring people in. And so this gives us a magnet, it gives us a place. And more importantly, it doesn't give you a flavor of energy that would set a vision or provide oversight. And that's what I mean by giving you agency back, right? You're going to have so much agency back and sovereignty that we're not going to be trying to do that. And we're also going to be very aware of what energy you are getting from us. And beyond just the business energies, there's emotional energies, there's head energies. And so I'll also be doing what are we calling them? I forget. A lab. There we go. I'll also be doing a lab, not just on emotions, but also on the mind. And like I said before, the mind is meant to observe and to research, but not to solve problems and not to make decisions. And that goes against what you've been taught. But we know the body's in charge, and that's where the heart math training comes in. So throughout the way, it'll be sprinkled in where you'll always be coming back to your heart as your own oversight and your heart to provide that vision. I'm super excited for this Creative Leadership Lab. It's something that I want. It's something that all the women that are going to be here want. Our two powerhouse guests, our mystery guest and Ashley Peterson, that are our SIPs and solutionists. When you go to the website, you'll see that. Once you have experienced coaching with me, so if you're listening to this and you've been a client, you can apply to be a SIPs and solutionist, and it just gives you free accommodations. Otherwise, the accommodations are not included in the price. And everything else is meals, experiences, workshop, analysis with Wendy, which is a 30+ page report that you'll get to keep that goes through your entire chart analysis, in addition to all the materials that you'll receive at the experience itself. If you'd like to learn more, you can go to the owlprofessionalcoaching.com, owlprofessionalcoaching.com, click on the Owl Experience and scroll down, you'll see. You can also click on the link here on YouTube or wherever you're catching it on YouTube, but whether or not you're getting it from a social media post, whatever that is, I'll have it in a comment most likely. If you have any questions, reach out to me directly. Give a hoot, and don't forget to holler. And always remember that hooting with me will always lead to some hollering.